Hi, this is Stephen from Owner Disown. Are you in the market for a 15-inch 2-in-1 laptop with pen support? Of late, there actually seems to be a surge of these models. They're ideal for students and business users alike. You have the Lenovo Yoga 720, which I reviewed here, and that can be had with an i5 CPU all the way up to a hobbled i7 7700 HQ CPU with a good GTX 1050 graphics card, starting at $1,050. I say hobbled because Lenovo out of the box disables turbo boost to keep it cool under load. But still, those 4 cores, 8 threads are beneficial if you do any photo editing or video rendering or video encoding. It uses an AES Wacom pen. Lenovo also has the Flex 5 for about $900, which is good value. It has the same specs as the HP Spectre 360 with an i7 7500U dual-core CPU and a GT940mx graphics card. There's also the Samsung 9 Pro that has the same CPU as the HP Spectre and a dedicated AMD 540 graphics, which is probably comparable to the GT940mx GPU on this Spectre, HP Spectre here. Now that retails for $1,300 and that comes with a Wacom S Pen. Now this HP Spectre retails for $1,500, so it is indeed one of the more expensive options. Now Amazon sells refurbished ones for $1,000 and I'll put a link in the description below. To be honest, I don't expect people to be buying this HP Spectre for its processing or gaming power, but more for its lightweight of 4.6 pounds or only 5.6 pounds with the power brick, and the ability to use a 2-in-1 with pen support. It comes with 16 gigabytes of DDR4 2133 Mhz RAM, which should be plenty. It can be used in regular laptop mode, tent mode, which is useful for presentations or watching a video, and also in tablet mode. Now in tablet mode, it does have some issues. The main problem I had was when holding it in landscape, the bezels are so thin that your hands activate the touchscreen and it can scroll by itself. The second issue is the speakers on the side of the keyboard, which is fine in laptop or tent mode, but when used as a tablet, they are either covered with your hands or they fire down into the table. I do like how it has a volume rocker on the side. Now the Yoga 720 doesn't have this, and it makes changing the volume in tablet mode so much easier. There were supposed to be 4 speakers, but you wouldn't actually think so. They are okay, but not quite as loud as the Yoga 720 at 75 decibels, but they are fine for watching the odd movie or playing a game. Bang & Olufsen has some basic sound software where you can alter the bass, the treble, and the dialogue clarity, as well as presets for music, movies or voice. You can also use noise cancelling technology when using the microphone. The only other bit of software which is quite useful, actually I find it is pretty good, is the HP Orbit. This can be used to transfer files from, say, your cell phone to your laptop. All you have to do is actually install the Orbit app to your phone and then sync the 2 devices together, and then it seamlessly transfers, say, a photo from your phone to the Spectre. Now, it is a beautifully crafted machine with great contrast between the dark, grey, anodized aluminum or aluminium. The gold trim around the edges is really nice. Even the hinges look nice, blending in seamlessly with the chassis, and I like the attention to detail with the engraved Spectre written on the back edge. Now, I must point out that at no time did I get any scratches when resting the keyboard in tablet mode. Getting the back off is very difficult. You have to remove 6 Torx 5 screws to remove it, and it's very difficult to pry open the back. And I believe there are actually 2 screws underneath the back to fit there. So, and I understand removing the back cover voids the warranty anyhow. Now, comparing it to the Yoga 720, you can see it is slightly larger with rounded corners, and it has a very nice tapered look to it. One thing you'll notice straight away is the large touchpad. Now the issue I had was with the left click and the right click not easily being defined. The left click does go past the center, and often I would be trying to click on things and I'd end up doing a right click. Now to be honest, I don't see the benefit of such a large trackpad, especially since you have a touchscreen that is very responsive. That being said, it is smooth and tracking is good, as is scrolling and pinch to zoom. Now settings can be altered within the Synaptic utility. The IPS screen is really nice. It is 4K and it's made by BOE and has a refresh rate of 60 Hz. It's perfect for watching 4K movies or high resolution photos. I think its colours are pretty much identical to that of the 4K Lenovo Yoga 720, with 96% of sRGB, 74% of Adobe RGB, and 70% of NTSC. Now it is much brighter than the Yoga 720 4K. 360 lux versus 217, and even at 50% brightness, it is brighter than the Lenovo at 75%. This makes it much easier to use outdoors where the glossy display picks up reflections quite easily. Now viewing angles are good, which to be honest you would expect with an IPS display. The keyboard is also good. I found it easy to type on, and I like the fact that it doesn't need the FN key press to change the volume or activate the keyboard lighting. The backlighting on the keyboard is actually only white, and it is either on or off by pressing the F5 key. There are no intermediate brightness settings. For storage, it comes with a 512GB Samsung PCI Express SSD with 2.8GB per second read and 1.5GB per second write speed, so that is very fast. Now these are the same as the Lenovo Yoga 720, and indeed it boots up fast at 13 seconds. That even includes the login using the Windows Hello facial recognition. Now I found the infrared camera generally works very well. It's actually better than on the Surface Book, but it does get confused if there is a bright light shining behind you. Now, but I'd still prefer the fingerprint method, which you find on the Yoga 720. I do like the webcam. It is a 1080p webcam, supposedly with a wide field of view of 88 degrees. Certainly looks clear. Since it only has dual-core CPU and low-end GPU, it doesn't actually use that much power. In fact, max load was only 121 watts, and that was with Prime 95 and the Heaven benchmark running at the same time. Probably an unlikely scenario for this type of laptop. The power brick is 90 watts and charges via the USB-C port. Now the placement on the right-hand side I find is quite poor because it does interfere with your mouse button. It is nice though because you can also charge it up using an external battery pack. To be honest, but not that this laptop really needs an extra battery pack. Its 79 watt-hour battery gives an exceptional runtime of 9 hours 12 minutes versus the Yoga 720's respectable 7 hours 10 minutes. Now I tested at 25% brightness, power saver and battery saver while streaming YouTube until it reaches 7%. Now since the screen is so bright, you could actually lower the brightness a bit and get a bigger runtime and still make it quite visible. Suffice it to say, the HP Spectre 360 will easily last you a full workday. On the right hand side, we have the volume rocker, an air vent, an HDMI port, a Thunderbolt 3 port, and a USB 3.1 Type-C port that supports charging. On the left hand side, you have one and only USB 3.1 Type-A port, a combo mic and headphone jack, another air vent, and a multi-format SD card reader. The main use, in my opinion, is its use of a digital pen and Windows ink. Now, normally it would come with an HP Active pen, but my refurbished model had no pen. It uses Ntrig technology, so the Surface pen would be compatible, as is the Bamboo ink pen I have here. So I used those two in my testing. Now, the Bamboo ink pen, like the Surface pen, uses a battery and has a clickable button at the top, the use of which can be configured in the Windows settings. Now, once connected by Bluetooth, there are also two buttons on the side, one of which is used as an eraser, and in the box you also get some spare pen tips. The Surface pen can actually be configured, although I could not get the end to be used as an eraser like on the Surface Book. The pen can be used as a mouse to activate links or open folders. Now, long pressing the button can be used to open Cortana. A single press opens up a sketch screen, so you can draw or write notes on a screen. You can also use a Sketchpad to draw a picture, and indeed, pressing harder does make the lines darker. I would say that the Surface pen actually lags a little bit more behind the Bamboo pen, although I do prefer the feel in the hand of the Surface pen. You feel less inclined to do accidental pressing of the side buttons. I use OneNote all the time, and both pens work very well on the Spectre. You can change pen types, ink colors to suit your needs. The Lenovo pen is a Wacom AES pen, so it doesn't work on the Spectre. So how does it perform? In general, it is fine. Perhaps I have been actually spoiled with all these gaming machines that I have reviewed. My initial wake-up call was how long it took to unzip the Cinebench R15 file. It took well over half an hour. Now, perhaps it was downloading an update in the background. Who knows? But with an i7-700 HQ CPU and a Yoga 720, you'd be talking about 30 seconds, so something strange was going on. Anyway, once I installed it and ran Cinebench, it scored a multi-threaded score of 331 points, which is much slower than the quad-core Yoga 720. I then tested how long it would take to convert a 4GB video file to MP4 using Handbrake. Now, it took 93 minutes versus 45 minutes with the Yoga 720. That is twice as long. So doing video encoding, it's not its strong suit. How about converting 50 photos to a video slideshow in Adobe's Lightroom? The HP Spectre took 18 minutes 50 seconds compared to the Lenovo Yoga 720's 13 minutes 50 seconds. So it's safe to say that the dual-core CPU is fine at general tasks and pen-related work, but don't expect it to save time in heavy-duty work. Now, that being said, it does have a dedicated graphics card in the form of the GT940mx. Now, this is a lower-end graphics card, but you can still do some gaming at 1366 by 768 resolution at low to medium settings. So using the synthetic TimeSpy benchmark, we get a score of 634 points versus the Yoga 720 1700 points. In Rise of the Tomb Raider at 1080p max settings, we naturally saw an unplayable 13 FPS versus the Yoga 720's 32. But dropping down to 1366 by 768 and low settings, you get a playable 34 FPS. Doom is quite forgiving, and although not playable at 1080p, it is perfectly fine with medium settings at 1366 by 768 at 44 FPS. Finally, in Rainbow Six Siege, medium settings, we get 34 FPS at 1080p and a nice 57 FPS at 1366 by 768 resolution. So, to conclude, the build quality on the HP Spectre 360 is second to none. It's solid aluminum and well anodized, so it shows no scuffs, gaps or creaks. It works well in modes, the laptop mode, the tablet and tent mode. Now, I do like the inclusion of the side volume rocker, and the Ntrig pen works well. So it's great for taking notes, sketching, and the bright display does help when you're using it outside, despite the reflective display. The speakers are okay given its size, and I like that it has a memory card reader, although I would have liked to have seen a second USB Type-A port. Battery life is awesome, making it the perfect travel companion. The 4K display is nice and crisp with good color accuracy. Even the dedicated GPU is okay, allowing the occasional gaming on today's top games. The only letdown is the weak CPU. The i7-7500U doesn't really cut it. Sure, it helps with battery life, but the Yoga 720 got over 7 hours, and I personally would prefer the extra power so the laptop could be used for more tasks, especially considering the higher price tag here, $1,500. If you could pick this up for a maximum of $1,200, I would say it is actually quite a good buy then. I therefore give it a score of 80%. Now, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.